ever before are being diagnosed with a mental health condition.
I'm in very familiar territory today because I'm driving through the streets of my home city, Manchester, and I am off to meet the bassist of one of Britain's favourite boy bands, Connor Ball from the Vamps. I'm really looking forward to meeting him, and we're going to have a chat about his anxiety and depression and how he's managed to have a really successful music career despite sometimes struggling with his mental health.
I just couldn't breathe, and then next thing I know I was in an ambulance, yeah.
Wow. Then when we've had a really good chat, I'm going to take him to surprise two teenagers who I've been getting to know here in Manchester, who also struggle with anxiety and depression.
I often wish that I could just tell people that I'm not okay.
And I just ended up quitting everything, all my activities that I used to do.
I brought someone to meet you. It's Connor from the Vamps.
Nice to see you. Hello. I've been there. Having anxiety doesn't hinder you on doing anything that you want to do in your life.
Hello, Connor.
Hey, how are you?
Casey, how are you?
Good, thank you. You?
Lovely to meet you. Yeah, really
Nice
good,
to
thank
meet
you. Welcome to Manchester.
Thank you.
Although I'm guessing you've been here with the band loads, have you?
Yeah, lots and lots.
Brilliant. Well, I'm really excited to take you to meet these two teenagers today,
Yeah.
but should we go and have a chat
Excited?
first?
Yeah, let's do it.
Come on then. So today we're going to have a little chat about mental health, which is, you know, we've met before, but that's not something we've ever spoken about.
No.
I have like generalised anxiety disorder, which basically means I'm anxious about literally everything in the world.
Yeah.
How would you describe the feeling of anxiety?
I feel like it's like being claustrophobic in your own head, if that makes sense to you.
Yeah, I think that does make sense.
The actual like physical feelings are like, you know, the breathing, being very short of breath, derealizations, one I get, which is like you don't feel like things are real. I've had like situations where my arm doesn't feel like it's actually part of my body, which is weird. It's like it goes numb, but it's not actually numb. It's weird.
At what point do you think you started to struggle with your mental health?
Funnily enough, the first time I first realised was in Manchester that I think I had a panic attack. We were on tour on our first tour, and so I was like away from home. I was with people that a lot older than me, because I just came from school where, you know, I was with mates that were all the same age, so it was just very different, like, you know, situation I was in.
And can you describe what that panic attack felt like?
I just couldn't breathe, going very dizzy, and then next thing I know I was in an ambulance, yeah.
Wow, so you actually ended up in an ambulance with that panic attack?
Yeah, I ended up staying in hospital overnight, like all strapped up to these things, not being able to breathe still overnight, and then they were like, oh, it's anxiety, and I was like, what? I didn't even know what that was at that point, so. At the time, when we were on our first tour, we were supporting McFly, and at that time I came, because I missed a few dates, came back onto the tour, and Danny Jones, he like started speaking to me and was like, oh, he realised and was like sort of chatting to me and sort of helping me through, which was really nice.
That's so nice.
Yeah, it was like big brother at that point.
I love that. It's McFly looking after the Vamps.
Yeah.
That's really sweet. At what point did you realise that you had depression as well as anxiety?
I think the depression was like a byproduct of the anxiety. It was making me, you know, sad and angry and stuff. And I think because of that, I then got that.
People would think that, you know, being in a successful boy band, having everything you have in your life would mean you'd have no problems in the world.
Yeah.
You know, you've got everything.
Like, I end up feeling bad a lot of the time because it's like, well, I don't have anything to complain about, and I really don't, really. That's why it's hard to then talk out about it. So it's one of them weird sort of like pivotal points that you've got to be very careful about, I think.
I think everyone feels like that though. I remember being a teenager and thinking, oh, I've had a really nice childhood, I've had a really nice upbringing, you know, I can't be unhappy, this is really selfish of me. But it just shows that, you know, no matter who you are, no matter what you're going through, you should get help because there's no problem too big or too small.
100%, yeah.
So I've been chatting to two teenagers from Manchester. The first one we're going to hear from is Robin, and they're 15 years old. And they told me how they also suffer from anxiety and from depression.
Okay.
I often wish that I could just tell people that I'm not okay, but there's just something in the back of my mind that says, don't bother them with it. They don't need to know, they don't care. 3 years ago, my dad went missing. I got back and he just wasn't there. And when he left, it was just so emotional for me. And I didn't really know what to do with myself because it was such a shock to me because he didn't say that he was going. Anxiety to me is another sense. The sounds around me get a lot louder and the things I'm seeing get a lot brighter sometimes, and the spaces between people, they just seem smaller. My friend will be speaking to me and it's like they're shouting down a megaphone. My depression is kind of like, I describe it as being like a hole that sometimes I fall down and it can be really difficult to get back up. I'm not really involved with anything. And it can feel so isolating at times. When I'm like trying to cope with my mental health, a lot of the time I listen to music. I've always been into music and writing songs. A song's never just a song, there's always something behind it. There's always like a message that the writer of it's trying to convey. And that brings me down from a really bad place because it gives me something to focus on. Music makes me feel so free and it kind of gives me a place to escape to, like another universe.
What did you think of Robin's descriptions of depression and anxiety there? Did they resonate with you?
Yeah, like a lot. I think the isolation thing and worrying as well, because, you know, they're so young. It's like I wouldn't have wanted to speak to my friends about it at that point, do you know what I mean? I think you think no one else knows anything about what you're going through, so yeah, really understand that. I think there's no harm in speaking to someone, even if it doesn't help you in the ways that you think it might, then it's nice to just, you know, get it out there. If you haven't spoke to someone before about it, definitely.
You ever have a bad day and think, right, I'm going to get my pad of paper out like Robin was doing there and write all this down and get it out of my head?
Yeah, it's like you're shouting with a pen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Now I'm going to introduce you to Taylor. She's 14 years old. She also suffers from anxiety and depression, and she told me about how she sometimes feels isolated because of her mental health.
I struggled with my mental health when I was around 8. Like, my granddad died and I started panicking a lot more. And when my family wasn't around, I used to stress about that. Just probably crying, just for the whole day, literally not doing anything.
How's your day been today?
And it does sometimes impact my relationships, like family, because sometimes my mum has bad days and I have bad days and then we just clash. My lowest moment was when I just ended up quitting everything, like all my activities that I used to do. When I'm playing an instrument, my anxiety can go from like a 9 to a 3. I can be in my own world and enjoy myself while doing something that I really enjoy. Playing music definitely helps me cheer up because it just makes me feel warm and happy.
From that, it's mad that she's like suffered with, you know, mental health stuff since she was so young. Being 8 and not knowing really what's going on in your head must be really scary. You never learn about that, which I think maybe people should start learning from a younger age, and that would make them more equipped for this sort of thing.
Music has really helped Taylor there. You see her with a guitar, and she said that her anxiety goes from like an 8 to a 3 when she plays a guitar. That's just so nice to hear, isn't it?
It's amazing, yeah, the power of music. And the fact she can do that and escape, even if it's just for, you know, half an hour, that's something, which is amazing for her.
In this last clip, we see Robin and Taylor again, but this time at the Anthony Seddon Centre in Manchester, which is a place where they use music as therapy. And they even got a chance to write their own piece of music as well.
Great.
With the help of youth support workers Dion and Luke, Robin and Taylor are able to create their own music as a way of expressing their feelings.
what kind of words can we relate to the topic? Is that how you do?
Maybe it's like I'm stuck in place, but everything
Yes.
else is moving. Or maybe that
Exactly.
could be a good place to start from, possibly.
I like that. Let's go with that.
Oh, maybe I'm so sick of this facade that I'm choosing.
How do you use music to cope with your anxiety?
I use it as a distraction, and it just puts me in my own world instead of worrying about other things.
Fantastic.
With me, it kind of helps me adapt the mood that I'm in. So it helps me change what I'm thinking about so it doesn't seem as bad. So I'm focusing on one thing rather than everything that's around me.
Right, should we give this a go, guys? Should we have a little jam?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Let's do it.
Cool.
F sharp, minor, E major, D major, A major.
Excellent. Let's give it a try, shall we?
Two, three,
Stuck in a place, but everybody's moving.
moving,
I'm so sick of this facade I'm choosing.
choosing.
I'm losing this rat race. It's going at a fast pace, but still, everybody's moving.
Everybody's moving, moving. Everybody's moving, moving. Where can I go? Who can I talk to?
The gates
Closing in, and I can't walk through. Where can I go? Who can I talk to? The gates closing in, I can't walk through. Fantastic.
Oh wow, that was great. Well done, guys.
Well done, everyone.
Well done.
Yeah.
Yes, what a tune!
Yeah, it's big. I love that lyric, like I'm stuck but everyone's moving. I think that's really good. They're very talented. Yeah. I think at that moment you can see that they're having a really good time, and that's, you know, literally through music that's done that. I'd advise anyone to carry on, and I think it's going to be a massive help.
I mean, don't advise everyone, Connor, because they'll be nicking your jobs.
Wow. Yeah, no, they'll end up being way better, so please don't. Yeah.
Well, it's a good job you like that song because they're currently recording it at a studio just across town. So
Great.
are you ready to go and surprise Robin and Taylor? And
I'd love to.
they are
Let's do
big
it.
fans of the Vamps as well, so they're going to be so surprised and so
Perfect. Oh,
happy
that's
to meet
great.
you. Let's go, I'm excited. I'm going to take Connor to the studio, where the teenagers have no idea they're about to meet a member of one of their favourite boy bands.
Stuck in place, but everybody's moving.
Hello, Robin and Taylor. I'm so sorry to disturb, but I brought someone to meet you. It's Connor from the Vamps.
How you doing? Bring it in. Nice to see you. Hello. How you doing? Sounds great from out there, by the way.
Yeah.
Sounds really good.
How are you feeling? You're lost for words. I'll tell you what, shall we put the instruments down and go and have a little sit down and a proper chat with Connor? Let's do it, okay.
Sweet.
This is nice, isn't it? This studio's great.
Very nice.
So, Connor, you must be no stranger to somewhere like this, but have you
Yeah.
guys ever been in a studio like this before?
Yeah, it's like my home. It's really cool.
When I was your guys' age, walking into a studio, it was just like, oh my God, this place is crazy. It feels so creative, and anything like any problems you have outside the studio, they can stay out there for a bit. Do you know what I mean? You can come in here and do what you need to do, and it's the best.
So speaking of that, Connor's obviously seen clips of you guys telling me all about your anxiety and your depression, and it's something that you can relate to, isn't it, Connor?
Yeah, definitely. Since I was like 16, I've had like anxiety. I think we all relate really similarly. So.
And obviously music is something that you all use to help you with your anxiety and depression. In fact, Robin, you've got your book there, haven't you? Is that where you write your lyrics?
Yeah, I've got like maybe 10 notebooks at home, but I just choose which one I'm like feeling to write them in.
Tell us a little bit about your thought process around this song then. What do some of these lyrics mean?
So the first line, stuck in place but everybody's moving, kind of resembles how when you're struggling, you see everyone else like going forward with their lives, like acting normally, and you just can't see a way to do that, so you just feel stuck. And then the next line of I'm so sick of this facade I'm choosing, for me in particular, I feel like when I'm around people, I kind of pretend to be like this really joyful, happy person, or like the one that's always calming other people down, even when I'm feeling really bad myself.
Yeah.
And I just feel like I'm faking it a lot, and I feel bad about that quite a lot.
Yeah, I don't think you should feel bad. I think that's really strong though, to be able to do that. The fact that you're putting that on and still keeping a happy face, that's amazing. You can do that.
It must be a big thing, like everyone knowing who you are, or like at least a lot of people anyway. Like, how do you cope with that in particular?
I think the first step to getting over any sort of like mental health issue is like speaking about it. And I think if you're surrounded with really good people that you can like completely trust, then you can just chat about it freely, openly, and that really helps, I think.
Do you two talk to your friends at all about your emotions?
Yeah, like my band as well, they're supportive.
What are you called?
Dead Feelings. It's a bit emo. We mostly
That's
just do
cool.
like punk stuff.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the stuff I'm into. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
I'm the drummer.
Sweet, but you play guitar as well?
Yeah.
That's great. That's me. I can't play drums for
Do you play piano?
Ish.
Wow, you play everything in this room. There's like nothing in this room you
I'm
can't
jealous.
play.
I can't play orchestral instruments.
Well, I think that's okay.
It's all right, you've got time.
I
You'll
can't
be
play
fine.
any instruments. I can't play any instruments.
How do you deal with like the stage presence side of it all? Like stage fright, is that a big thing?
Luckily, I've not really had like stage fright because that's always helped me with my anxiety. Going on stage and going out and sort of doing it just makes me forget about the anxiety. But I think I understand why people would, because there's people staring at you. And I think in like smaller venues it's actually worse because you can see people's faces, their eyes are like right on you. But I think maybe just try like look through the crowd. Don't look at them and look through. Do your thing and they'll love what you're doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is that something that you find difficult?
Yeah, like performing is like really nerve-wracking, but then when I'm like halfway through a show, I'm just like, okay, this is fine. Just chill.
How have you managed to cope with your anxiety and depression? Do you have any tips for these guys?
Yeah, there's like techniques I do, like breathing techniques, and then just keeping like a day-to-day routine, like keeping healthy, going to the gym, sleeping, which I don't do enough of. But yeah, that sort of thing's really good for you. And then just keep up music, which is the main thing, I think.
Have you got a breathing technique that we can all do right now?
Yeah, there's that one there. So you breathe in through your nose for 4 seconds, then you hold it for 7 seconds, then out for 8. If we start that, we'll start breathing through your nose for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and out for 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Nice.
Hard to breathe out for 8.
It's long, isn't it? Yeah, it's a long time.
When someone says to me, or if they do in the future, you can't do this because of your mental health, or we don't think it's the best thing for you to do, I can say, no, I can, because people in the past, like Connor, have done it and been so like talented in doing so and successful. It gives me something to prove them wrong.
Look, I've been there. Having anxiety doesn't hinder you on doing anything that you want to do in your life, and you shouldn't let it ever stop you from doing something that you love.
Thank you so much for all being so honest and sharing your stories.
And thank you for doing this. It's really amazing for someone with your amount of influence to be able to do something like this.
No, it's all right. Thank you guys for being so honest and great with sharing your stories with everyone that's going to hear this. So it's amazing.
Meeting Connor was just amazing. When Katie was just like, yeah, it's Connor, I was like, oh my God.
I never thought I'd meet someone like that successful and that nice of a person. Meeting Connor has made me realise that having anxiety doesn't hold you back from succeeding.
Seeing someone that's so successful, being able to cope with that and being able to control what he's been going through is quite refreshing, and knowing other people struggle like that, especially people that have done well, makes me just feel a lot of hope for the future.
I thought it was amazing. They're really inspirational people, and I think they're really talented. I love the fact that they're speaking out about their mental health, especially at such a young age. I think I would have found that really hard. So yeah, I'm really lucky to have met them. I think it's super important that they find their own ways to manage mental health, because it's not like a one-trick fix for everyone. You need to find your own sort of like path in what you do and how you treat yourself and manage your mental health. And I think they'll do that with time, for sure.
Where can I go? Who can I talk to? The gates closing in. I can't walk through.
Yeah, that's awesome. Sounds really good, guys.
Oh, I really enjoyed that, introducing Connor to Taylor and Robin. They're obviously really big fans of his music, and now he's a fan of theirs too. I think it was really helpful for them to hear from him firsthand that he suffered with anxiety and depression, but he's learned to manage it and control it, and it's not stopped him achieving his dreams. So it shouldn't stop anybody from achieving theirs.